Namaskar and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. This is Express News. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with the top story. Qatar has released all 8 Indian nationals from its custody. Indian government has welcomed the release of Indians. 7 out of the 8 Indian nationals working for Doordarshan global company have returned to India. Indian government appreciates their decision. Upon arrival in India, the nationals expressed happiness and thanked Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his personal intervention. India's instant mobile payment system called Unified Payment Interface has been launched in Mauritius and Sri Lanka. Mauritius has also launched India's RuPay debit and credit cards. The Prime Ministers of India and Mauritius and President of Sri Lanka jointly launched their services via video conferencing on Monday. UPI settlement services for Indian nationals now becomes available in Sri Lanka and Mauritius as well as for Mauritian nationals travelling to India. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi distributed more than 100,000 appointment letters to newly appointed youth through video conferencing. The Rozgar Mela or the Employment Fair was organised at 47 places across the country where newly appointed youth joined the government offices by filling multiple posts in various departments. PM Modi also laid the foundation stone of the first phase of the integrated complex called Karma Yogi Bhavan at New Delhi. PM said Karma Yogi Bhavan will promote collaboration and synergy between various parts of Mission Karma Yogi. He called for involving the youth and making them allies in nation building. The Secretary General of Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN, Kao Kim Horn, met India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar in New Delhi today. Discussions focused on taking forward the comprehensive strategic partnership, connectivity, food security and trade. Kim Horn is on an official 5-day visit to India. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addressed the Central Board of Directors of the RBI along with RBI Governor Shaktikant Das in his customary post-budget meeting in New Delhi today. RBI Governor Shaktikant Das on Monday reiterated that all decisions taken by the central bank are carefully considered in the context of Paytm. Indian President Draupadi Murmu addressed the 200 Janmotsav event on the occasion of birth anniversary of Maharshi Dayanand Saraswati at Tankara in Gujarat. President Draupadi Murmu was the chief guest at the 20th convocation of the Sardar Vallabhbhai National Institute of Technology. In Bihar, the NDA government led by Chief Minister Nitish Kumar on Monday won the Bihar floor test after it secured the support of 129 MLAs who voted in favor of the NDA alliance. Preceding the trust vote, the Assembly addressed and approved a no-confidence motion against Speaker Awadh Bihari Chaudhary. In another achievement, Indian Coast Guard ship Vikram rescued a fishing boat with 11 crew members off the coast of Minicoy Island in the Arabian Sea. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will pay a 2-day visit to the United Arab Emirates, UAE, beginning Tuesday for talks with President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and to inaugurate the first Hindu temple in Abu Dhabi. Following Friday's cues of the US markets, the Asian stock market indexes are trading mixed on Monday. Japan's Nikkei is trading marginally higher by 0.18%. Indian stocks fell amid across-the-board sell-off. Sensex slips 523 points. Nifty settles at 21,616. Nifty Realty takes a dip as profit booking kicks in. Nifty Bank fell 752 points and closes at 44,882. The major Asian stock market indexes include Hang Seng Taiwan, Straits Times Kospi and China Shanghai are shut on Monday on the occasion of Lunar New Year. European shares climbed on Monday by the momentum on Wall Street that propelled the S&P 500 to close above 5,000 for the first time. Eurozone bond yields fell slightly on Monday after rising sharply the previous week as investors waited for Tuesday's US inflation data. The IMF's Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva is now very confident the world economy will see a soft landing, adding that interest rates would start coming down from mid-year too. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said on Monday that every country needs to have its own artificial intelligence infrastructure in order to take advantage of the economic potential while protecting its own culture. Several Indian asset managers are firming up their plans of relocating to the high-tech GIFT City with an aim to optimally tap the potential of the Indian stock market. The Indian government is attracting companies through tax breaks and other incentives. In Pakistan, Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's Pakistan People's Party, Nawaz Sharif's Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz, and Imran Khan-backed independents have intensified efforts to create a coalition government following a hung parliament situation. Imran Khan's party, along with some others, held protests in parts of Pakistan amid allegations of widespread vote rigging targeting Khan's political party and other nationalist groups. The Israel Defense Forces conducted a joint operation with the country's domestic Shin Bet security service and special police unit that freed 2 Israeli hostages in Rafah early on Monday. The freed hostages were taken to the hospital on the outskirts of Tel Aviv. The doctor said the 2 men were in good medical condition. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday said that Israel would not pass any opportunity to free more hostages from Gaza, describing sustained military pressure until total victory over Hamas as necessary for their full recovery. The head of World Health Organization reiterated his call for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza on the sidelines of the World Government Summit 2024 in Dubai. A narrowly divided U.S. Senate moved closer to passing a $95.34 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan on Sunday, showing undiminished bipartisanship despite growing opposition from Republican hardliners and Donald Trump. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has until the end of Monday to file an appeal to the country's top court against last week's ruling, which rejected his claim of immunity from criminal prosecution during his time in the office. Top Western officials criticized former U.S. President Donald Trump after he suggested the U.S. might not protect NATO allies who aren't spending enough on defense from a potential Russian invasion. European Union's foreign policy chief Josep Borrell said on Monday that NATO cannot be an a la carte military alliance dependent on the whims of the U.S. president. Hundreds of protesters from around the country flocked to a Texas border town on Saturday to vent over illegal immigration and show support for former President Donald Trump. U.S. President Joe Biden joined TikTok on Sunday as part of his re-election campaign with a short video using NFL's Super Bowl to reach young voters ahead of elections in November this year. United States Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin was admitted to a critical care unit in Washington on Sunday for the treatment of symptoms suggesting an emergent bladder issue. Austin has passed his office duties of Deputy Secretary of Defense Kathleen Hicks. His upcoming trip to Brussels on 14 February to meet the Ukraine Defense Contact Group is uncertain. Law enforcement in Houston took down an active shooter on Sunday at one of the largest evangelical churches in the U.S. There were no reports of fatalities or injuries. The shooter was identified as a woman in her early 30s armed with a long rifle and accompanied by a child around 5 years old. Ukraine's digital minister stated that his country will produce thousands of long-range drones capable of deep strikes into Russia in 2024 and already has up to 10 companies making drones that can reach Moscow and St. Petersburg. Ukraine's air defense systems destroyed 14 out of 17 Russian drones overnight. A Russian cruise missile was also destroyed. North Korean state media said the country has developed a new ballistic control system for a multiple rocket launcher along with controllable shells. North Korea said the Academy of Defense Science, which oversees the country's missile development, conducted a ballistic control test firing of 240 mm caliber controllable multiple rocket launcher shells. Finland's former Prime Minister Alexander Stubb won Finland's presidential election on Sunday, defeating Liberal Green Party member Pekka Haavisto. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said on Sunday that his country was not Russia's ally in its war against Ukraine, but stressed its military cooperation projects were not directed against any single country. Pashinyan also said he hoped that Armenia's neighbor and long-standing rival Azerbaijan remained committed to the conclusion of a durable peace treaty despite statements by its president about demarcating the borders. Around 1 lakh people gathered in Munich on Sunday holding banners and lights in protest against right-wing extremism, anti-Semitism and far-right alternative for Germany. Trinidad and Tobago is considering declaring a national emergency after a huge oil spill from a ship that ran aground and overturned this week. At least 15 kilometers of Tobago's southwestern coast have been affected. Over 1,000 volunteers have now joined government staff to clean up the spill. Venezuela's Attorney General Tarek Saab said on Sunday that lawyer and human rights activist Rocio San Miguel has been arrested for her alleged involvement in the conspiracy plot and attempted assassination of President Nicolas Maduro. A small plane crashed into a sea turtle preservation site in Mexico, killing 1 person and injuring 5 others. The plane belonging to a skydiving company attempted an emergency landing but crashed into the turtle camp. The deceased was a 62-year-old man inside the turtle camp. 14 people were injured on Sunday after a tree fell onto a roller coaster at a theme park in eastern Spain. In the northern part of India, in Jammu and Kashmir, the Border Roads Organization has started snow clearance operations after heavy snowfall on the Gurez-Bandipora road in Bandipora. The road in J&K's Bandipora, North India, was closed for vehicular traffic recently in view of heavy snowfall en route. The travel of people and medical emergencies were being facilitated through chopper services. Heavy rain and floods were witnessed in some areas of Oman in the past 2 days. The National Multi-Hazard Early Warning Center at the Civil Aviation Authority issued warnings for citizens to take necessary precautions and avoid low-lying areas. This week, Iceland woke up to yet another day of fire as towering fountains of lava lit up the dark morning sky. The death toll from a landslide that struck southern Philippines on the 6th of February has risen to 55. Rescuers are combing through the mud and rubble in search for missing people. A total of 32 people have been injured and provincial authorities are consolidating efforts to provide aid for those who have been displaced by the disaster. The United Nations published a report on Monday saying that more than a fifth of the world's migrating species are at a risk of going extinct as a result of climate change and human encroachment. Human activities pose the biggest threat to migrating species, impacting 70% of the species on the UN list. Habitat loss has affected up to 75% of the species. Unstable weather and heavy rain overtook parts of the UAE on Monday, flooding some streets and stalling traffic in Dubai. The UAE Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization urged the private sector to implement flexible work conditions for the day. Dubai police issued a public safety advisory alerting residents to the adverse weather conditions. It has asked the public to stay away from beaches, avoid areas of valleys, torrent flows and low places. The United Nations report said that more than a fifth of the world's migrating species are at a risk of going extinct as a result of climate change and human encroachment. Human activities pose the biggest threat. In Japan, at least 180 contestants from across the country participated in a noodle eating competition held annually in Hanamaki in northeastern prefecture of Iwate. A festival in Russia's Doordarshan. The public featured dozens of teams competing to create the best homemade sled that can survive a steep ramp. Argentine parishioners celebrated the canonization of Maria Antonia de Paz y Figueroa, also known as Mama Antula, the first Argentinian female to be declared a saint by the Vatican. Peru and Cuba celebrated the Lunar New Year of the Dragon with Chinese-Cuban performers in lion and dragon costumes. The Lunar New Year, China's largest holiday, begins on February 10th. Ram Temple in Ayodhya, in the ancient holy city of India's Uttar Pradesh state, continues to record number of visitors and devotees. The temple has received rupees 12.8 crore in offerings in just 15 days since its opening. In preparation for the global promotion of the upcoming Mahakumbh 2025 in Prayagraj of India's Uttar Pradesh, the state government is planning to organize a social media conclave. The two-day kite festival concludes in Bengaluru of South India's Karnataka. International kite flyers from 13 countries such as Thailand, Ukraine, Greece, Estonia, Sweden and others participated in the festival. In the South India's Tamil Nadu, Swan Murteshwara temple, a 350-year-old temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, witnessed the long-awaited revival of his chariot festival after 17 years. In India's Himalayan state, Himachal Pradesh, Tibetans perform group circle dance during second day of Losar celebration. The Losar festival, also known as Tibetan New Year, is a religious celebration. A trailer of Indian spy action comedy Chari 111 is out now. Telugu film Chari 111 starring Venela Kishore in title role with Murli Sharma and Samyukta Vishwanathan is slated for release on 1st March. King Charles has been resting at Sandringham after being diagnosed with cancer. The King Charles waved to passers-by as he made his first public appearance since his cancer diagnosis. Real Housewives of Miami star Larsa Pippen and boyfriend Marcus Jordan split after a year and a half of dating. Louis Book reads celebrity YouTube series to feature Kylie Minogue, Eva Mendes and Jenna Fischer. Ben Affleck's definitely getting the last laugh over his undying love of Dunkin'. It turns out the Oscar winner raked in a staggering $10 million for his Super Bowl commercial last year. Usher obtained a Las Vegas marriage license with his longtime girlfriend Jennifer Goitia before his Super Bowl 2024 halftime show. Marley Matlin called out CBS for lack of airtime of his deaf performance during Sunday's Super Bowl pre-game in Las Vegas. The new teaser for The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, Stephanie Sue, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Winston Duke is out. The movie will be released in theatres on May 3rd. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Rowe dazzle and defying gravity in the first Wicked trailer that debuted during the Super Bowl. The Sphere in Las Vegas, Nevada lit up on Sunday evening with graphics of Super Bowl proclaiming the Kansas City Chiefs as champions. Kansas City Chiefs retained the Super Bowl after defeating San Francisco 49ers 25-22 on Sunday in Las Vegas. The victory made Kansas City the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls since the New England Patriots in their 2002 and 3 seasons. Chiefs fans celebrated and partied on in Kansas City after their side secured their second consecutive Super Bowl title. The Sphere in Las Vegas, Nevada lit up on Sunday evening with graphics of Super Bowl proclaiming the Kansas City Chiefs as champions. Ivory Coast came from behind to beat Nigeria and win the Africa Cup of Nations final on home soil on Sunday. India's top tennis player Sumit Nagal script history on Sunday by becoming one of the only 10 Indians to make a place in the world top 100 players after winning the ATP Challenger in Chennai. India suffered heartbreak going down to Australia by 79 runs in the final of the ICC Under-19 World Cup on Sunday. Indian captain Uday Saharan bemoaned rash shots as India batters failed to chase 254-run target with as many as 5 top-order batters getting out on a single-digit score. Sri Lanka defeated Afghanistan by 155 runs to take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series in the second ODI on Sunday. Glenn Maxwell starred with a century to help Australia beat West Indies by 34 runs in the second T20I at the Adelaide Oval on Sunday. Kenya's marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum dies at the age of 24 in a road accident on Sunday. Well, that's all we have in this edition of Express News. Stay tuned for more news and updates.